We've seen our fair share of massively tall players in the NBA. Guys like Manute Bol, George Mirasan come to mind, who are both listed at 7'7", Yao Ming, Sean Bradley, both at 7'6", players you don't see coming around that often because it's so incredibly rare for a human being to grow that tall while also possessing the skills necessary to play professional basketball. The last player to exceed 7'5" that played in the NBA was Taco Fall, listed at 7'6", who only managed to play 37 games in his entire NBA career, most of which were in garbage time. Other bigs who exceeded a height of 7'3" despite their massive length and advantage over their defender would struggle to have strong, long-lasting careers in the NBA, either by suffering injuries that would prevent them from seeing the court, or simply not having the agility, athleticism, or coordination to keep up with the talent level in the NBA. But because of their size, players this big are always going to have an opportunity to play on the biggest stage. And if you thought guys like Manute Bol or Yao Ming were big, well, let me introduce you to a young teenager that could set the record for the tallest player in NBA history, a kid by the name of Olivier Rioux, a French-Canadian 18-year-old who started gaining popularity at the age of 12 for his insane height and ability to dunk the basketball without even jumping. And while Rioux is sure to gain more attention and focus as he enters his freshman season at the University of Florida, the question on most people's minds is this kid actually good enough to make it to the NBA? Well, that's what we'll be talking about further in this video. As always, if you're new to the channel and you like this type of content, then be sure to subscribe so you don't miss a video, and in return, I'll be providing more NBA content like this. So what makes a player like Victor Wembanyama so special, among a host of things, is his ability to play the game of basketball like a guard with his ball handling skills, court vision, footwork, speed, and athleticism, all while standing 7'4". Most players at that height are simply too awkward and uncoordinated to move well with the ball and are limited to just getting fed near the basket and putting it in for a dunk. And for Victor Wembanyama, he would become the tallest player in the NBA at the point he was drafted that we've seen since Boban Marjanovic, who rarely gets any playing time these days. Right away, Wemby would come into the league as the NBA's tallest player and brightest young stars. But while at 7'4", coming into the league is rare, it's even more rare, in fact it's actually never happened in NBA history, to have that occur in 2 straight drafts where Zach Edey, the big man out of Purdue, is slated to go in this year's first round. Wemby might be tall, but Edey is a beast, and not only standing 7'4", but also 300 pounds. That is incredibly hard to defend in the post because of his sheer size and frame. But if you thought these guys were big, they don't even come close to comparing to the young Canadian who already exceeded their height by the time he was 16 years of age, setting the Guinness Book of World Records for the tallest teenager at 7'5", which of course he has since surpassed his own world record, now growing an additional 4 inches since his 16th birthday. Now, even though Olivier Rioux wasn't the most athletic or agile player when he first started taking up the game of basketball, when you're already 6'1" at 8 years old and already passing Shaquille O'Neal in height when you're in 7th grade, yeah, you probably should give basketball a try to see if you can make things work and have a future in the sport. And even though Rioux would initially struggle to be effective when he was on the court at a young age, outside of just standing in the way and sending little 12-year-old shot into the stands, Rioux would continue to work on his game, his ball handling, his footwork, and also his body, and adding muscle to be a more physical player in the post. Rioux would go on to play in various Canadian AAU teams and would play internationally for the French Phenoms when he was 12 years old, standing 6'10". He would also go on to play for Real Madrid in Spain, as well as the Canadian men's national basketball team in the World Cup for the U16, 17, and U19 teams. But while Rioux might be a behemoth on the court, and something we've never seen before in the game of basketball at his height, being good enough to be in the NBA is another thing. Most scouting reports have listed him as a 4-star recruit, with 247 Sports listing Rioux as a 3-star prospect. Rioux is not a top 100 prospect of his class, which most current NBA players in their respective classes coming out of high school were. And even though he was offered a scholarship to come play for Florida, a prominent basketball program with a history of success, it's unlikely Rioux is going to be seeing a lot of playing time in his freshman and sophomore seasons. Rioux, of course, is a great rim protector as opponents struggle to get the ball over him before he swats it away. He has decent handles for a big man and overall a good feel for the game on offense. But what will likely hold Rioux back from potentially reaching the pinnacle of his craft and making it to the NBA is how slow-footed he is in the paint and his lack of speed in getting up and down the court in transition, clogging up the paint as well with his inability to space the floor, which is paramount in today's NBA. And let's also not forget that while Rioux has put on a fair amount of muscle and will continue to do so as he gets older, he's still no match in going up against the likes of the NBA's top big men and meet their level of physicality. Having the ability to simply drop the ball in the hoop without leaping is good and all when you're going up against a bunch of teenagers, but even getting to the basket against the most physical bigs in the NBA is a whole nother ballgame. Based on what we know of Olivier Rioux right now, I would say it's a tall order, no pun intended, that he would make the NBA. Maybe he gets picked up as an undrafted prospect like Taco Fall and plays some mop-up minutes here and there for an NBA team on a two-way contract, but I really don't see Rioux becoming a prominent player in this league. That said, I sure hope that I'm wrong, because I would love to see the record for the tallest player in league history be reached in my lifetime and see another French-Canadian player enter the league. And let's be real here, development and progression of a player is not always linear. Just because he hasn't looked like what other NBA players were able to do at age 18 doesn't mean that Rioux can't develop into a bona fide NBA player with a prominent career in this league. I will certainly be watching him play at Florida just because we've never seen a guy this big play basketball, and I'll be cheering for him to continue to get better. Now, hopefully, one day, hear his name be called by the commissioner on draft day. Let me know what you guys think. Let me know in the comments. As always, be sure to subscribe, and I will see you in the next one.